media likes to focus on these big names with the donations and endorsements, as if these big power players are the real representatives of the average American Christian, and that you could look to them as a gauge of what American Christians at large think and do. And that way of looking at things can be both right and wrong. I want to start out by reading a little bit here from Matthew chapter 19. This is where Jesus has just finished speaking with a rich man who wants to be one of his disciples, and Jesus tells him the criteria, and it is very hard for the man to accept that. It says, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Then the disciples come to Jesus and continue on that theme, asking Jesus, questions about the dynamic between worldly possessions and the kingdom of heaven. And as part of that conversation, Peter asks Jesus, he says, "Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore?" And Jesus said unto them, "Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And every one that hath forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life." Now, there's a lot of discussion about what is this fulfilled? Is this fulfilled in this life? We see going into the book of Acts, how the church grows and grows, and the believers share their possessions, and they have this great camaraderie and this great security in their love and care for each other? Or is this something that is maybe more fulfilled in the regeneration, in the resurrection, in the world to come, the age to come? And I think the answer probably lies in both of those scenarios. It's something that we can count on here as we take care of each other, and it is something that the Lord has planned out very far into the future. But I really like this example here of these people coming to Jesus, talking to Jesus, hearing from Jesus, trying to understand the physical realities of this life and how Jesus' words affect them and what they need to do to have a better understanding and be a bigger and better part of this kingdom of heaven that Jesus is establishing on earth. So there's a lot of headlines coming out now about the upcoming Iowa caucus, which is just around the corner now, just coming up in a few weeks in January. And the big competition there is going to be between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, and the voters are lining up, the sponsors and the endorsements are lining up, and this headline here on the Hill says, "Trump slams evangelical leader who endorsed DeSantis as, quote, scammer." Former President Trump turned his ire onto influential Iowa evangelical leader Bob Vander Plaats after he announced his endorsement of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis earlier this week. Bob Vander Plaats, the former high school accountant from Iowa, will do anything to win, something which he hasn't done in many years, Trump wrote Saturday on Truth Social. He's more known for scamming candidates than he is for victory, but now he's going around using disinformation from the champions of that art, the Democrats. So apparently what happened is I think Donald Trump attended a fundraiser by Mr. Vander Plaats' organization, and Trump made a donation for this fundraiser, I guess expecting the political favor in return, but instead this guy gave his endorsement to Trump's rival, Ron DeSantis. And there's a lot of headlines, coming out about this, the possible split between Trump and Iowa evangelicals. And, as an observer who's been quite concerned about the effect that Donald Trump has had on American Christianity, as I think a lot of Christians have looked on with some worry, headlines like this are kind of interesting, maybe even a little hopeful, like, evangelicals, Christians turning away from Trump. Of course, that's just the very start of it, because where they are putting their support and influence is not really much better if you consider Ron DeSantis. What are the things that worry me as a Christian about a candidate like Donald Trump? Well, it's his attitude towards the poor, it's his attitude towards people that he considers beneath them. It's the way that Christians like to use Republican politics as a vehicle to punish sinners and in general promote their own sense of morality, using the arm of the state, lifting themselves up, putting down people that they consider to be beneath them or not as worthy as they are. It's a lot of kind of immoral things that Christians lend their power to through these candidates. And if they're not supporting Donald Trump, well, unfortunately, that's simply because they're supporting another equally immoral candidate in Ron DeSantis, someone who would very likely support a lot of the same kind of wrong things that Donald Trump supports. And that's kind of a conundrum for Christians, I think. Often you're trying to look for the so-called lesser of two evils, or well, at least this guy maybe leans more my way on this issue, even if I don't care for his character or morality or most of his issues and how he falls on them. Me personally, I don't plan to vote for either of these people, and I am very leery of a administration led by either Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis. But that's the state of American politics and Christians' involvement in American politics, at least kind of in the most visible media-covered ways. Media loves to focus on these big names with the donations, with the endorsements, and it's as if, these big power players represent Christians and are a gauge of what Christians are thinking and doing. And that's both right and wrong, very often the case is that these big power players don't really represent the general the lay persons, if you would, or the people who attend church, the people who are concerned about issues that go on. And you can't really judge American Christians based on the actions and the words of these larger figures. I know for a fact that a lot of conservative, austere, Bible-believing Christians are very much fed up with the American political system and these people who put themselves forward as leaders. I know that there are a lot of people who do not agree with these so-called conservative issues. They do not agree with, deporting people for being of the wrong nationality or of supporting different entities around the world and their wars. They do not support the militarism, the harshness towards the poor, the harshness of the criminal justice system. There are a lot of Christians who really are truly hungering and seeking after righteousness. And of course, they're not going to be really represented in American politics, because American politics does not tend towards the things of the kingdom of heaven. It does not tend towards humility, towards being a servant to others. It does not tend towards not being a respecter of persons, not seeking to protect what you have. If you do a read-through of the Gospels, you're going to find little to nothing that has any kind of representation in so-called conservative or evangelical politics. So though headlines like this are maybe a little bit sensational, a little bit misleading, and no, it's not really that these Christian leaders are having a repentance moment and turning away from these bad policies and these people who promote them. Personally, I am hopeful that by and large the American church, American Christianity is going to experience somewhat of a renaissance, if you will, a turning to the gospel, a turning to the words of Jesus, and become a place of compassion, a place of people who want to serve others, a place of people who do not want to harm, judge, punish, and do the things that those in power like to do. Again, just go out and talk to the average American Christian. You're going to find, so much goodness, so much depth, so much understanding and love for the words of Jesus and his apostles. And I think there really is a lot of hope. I know this is kind of a funny springboard into that conversation, but these things always make me think. They make me think, okay, what's going on with American Christianity? What's going on with American so-called fundamentalists, and where could things be going, and is there hope? And I believe that yes, there is a lot of hope for Christians to have a better and better impact on the world, not through politics, but through, as Jesus commands, letting their lights shine, doing the will of the Father on earth. Really, ask yourself, who would Jesus kick out of their homes for being the wrong nationality? Who would Jesus send weapons to so that they could, fight for his geopolitical goals? What kind of a prison system would the apostles build to go out and arrest and lock up sinners? I think that we're going to find that American power structures declined very much the way that Roman power structures declined. People turning to Christianity and simply leaving those things aside and not concerning themselves with the wealth and the power and the militarism and imposing their will on others as they used to before they had the knowledge of Jesus. I'm going to close here by reading a little bit from this Psalm 106. It says, "Blessed are they that keep judgment, and he that doeth righteousness at all times. Remember me, O Lord, with the favor that thou bearest unto thy people. O visit me with thy salvation, that I may see the good of thy chosen, that I may rejoice in the gladness of thy nation, that I may glory with thine inheritance. For we have sinned with our fathers, we have committed iniquity, we have done wickedly." I love these prayers of repentance that we find in the Bible. We can pray them for ourselves and for ourselves as a group also, for the congregation of believers. We can take our concerns to Jesus, take our confessions to the Lord, and be free from all the things that hold us back. And we can really, as Paul says, lay aside those sins that weigh us down as we look to Jesus. Well, let me know what you think about all this. What do you think about American politics and whatnot? Do you plan on voting? Who do you plan on voting for? Do you think any of these candidates maybe does more accurately represent Christian ideals? Am I wrong about some of this? Please leave a comment below, and I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.